I think that's my favorite video intro that I've ever made. I
Well,
made it.
I am partial to it. I've loved it always since you made it for my show. So,
Well, I mean, we've had several variations, and since this show is a morph
yeah, I like the
between
morph. Yep.
about 14 other shows we've done, then I tried to morph it together. But it was just so much fun with the glass breaking
Yeah.
and everything coming together. So that was
You did
fun.
you did good because the whole intro is really good. I like it.
uh, I love doing those. And on my way to making a whole bunch more here real soon. I'm sure you're probably noticing our new branding logo down there in the bottom corner. I'm That's my uh, I don't know my the one I went with. I had several I had to make to see how it worked, but you'll start seeing those on all the shows. Want to be sure that Lamb's branding goes out everywhere all the time, and no matter what we're doing. And so there's a few other changes coming up. Within the next few weeks, we will be going to a little bit different format in that all of our live shows will be the same, all their rebroadcasts will be the same, but you won't see any of the old Lamb radio stuff. Anything that we're going to do has got to be video, so we're going to do video. And even though I have 10,000 hours of Lamb radio stuff, I'm gonna have somewhere along the lines. I need to find a way to get those played together or something. Maybe after hour radio, old radio stuff or something. I don't know, but anyway. So a few changes.
But change is always exciting.
It is. It
Sometimes
is.
it's uncomfortable for us, but
Yeah.
it change is good. And
Yeah.
I have to say that, in my own life, I'm like, "Oh, change," like, if it's something
Yeah.
personal, but yet
Yeah.
when y'all wants us to change, it's for a reason and a purpose, so
Yeah. Well, Adina, my wife, and I put a lot into scheduling everything, and we want to kind of change things around so that it doesn't. We're not constant. Adina and I, we're on this every day, all the time. It's a full time job, just making sure everything is playing right or scheduled right, and those type of things. That'll free me up to be more creative and make promos and things like that. So anyway,
well, it's all I know is I'm excited, and everybody in our
good,
Lamb audience should be really excited
good,
because, get involved, and I'm gonna encourage you guys, if you love what you hear, spread the word.
yeah,
Let people know.
sure.
Put it on your social media. Uh,
Yeah,
send people here because there's life and great word and great messages and great information, and people need to not only just send people here but then support, because this is a source of life. And to partner, here's what people don't understand: when you support a ministry, whether it's Lamb and or our life of worship or other things, you are partnering with them. That means the things you can't do personally, you are actually doing through those that you partner with.
that's right. That's right. And that's,
So come on, folks.
and that's the way we look at it too, from both sides. So yeah, I'm with you. Oh, it's good. We're my gosh, we're in our 14th year of broadcasting, and so we want to, keep it going. So invite people to watch. Hey, I don't know how to say it any different. So we're working on it. Let's put it that. We're working on it to make it more interactive for everybody. Uh, anyway, So moving on, and you probably noticed we didn't have a newscast of ancient times. It's because the script didn't get written this week.
You've been busy.
I know. It's like it gets Monday, and okay, I need to write the script. It gets Tuesday, and it's wow, I didn't write it yesterday. I'll write it today. Gets Wednesday, and it's like uh, it's running too late. I can't write the script. I'm so busy. I just forget. I remember, and I'm always in a place where I can't just sit down and write it. And so anyway.
Yeah, sometimes we're like that too, like me, and things are happening and at the congregation, and all of a sudden you think of a meeting, and then later the meeting just completely escapes you and you miss it.
That's
So
right.
I understand that. I've
That's
been
right.
there.
That's right.
So, hey, you know what's coming up this Sunday?
This Sunday,
Yep.
the Super Bowl.
Are you a Super Bowl person?
You bet, big time, especially when my favorite team is playing.
I know.
Yeah.
See, I told Adina, Jonathan's the same way. Because he went to the International House of Prayer for 3 years for college.
Oh, wow. Wow. Something kicked her off. Oh my gosh. Well, she'll be back, I'm sure. She always does. So, okay. Well, I'm never prepared to handle the show by myself. Wait, hold up. It's not me, is it? Sandy, did we lose me? I don't know. So all I can do is just keep talking and hope that whichever one of us is off will come back. So hey, don't rush off, everybody. Sandy and I were just talking about changes and things that we're making here at Lamb. It'll still be the station; it'll still all look the same. And then what you're going to see is really a lot more fill in between the live shows. Like I said, all the live shows will be the same, and we're just going to add more content, but they'll all be video. We ran the Lamb Network ran radio, which we call it radio because it's only audio for the first say 8 years or so, 9 years or so that we did this, and so we have a lot of those archives left over. And so looks like Sandy's trying to come back. Are you trying to come back? Did you like kick something or what?
That was weird.
Uh-huh. It was.
No, I'm being here still, and the computer just completely went boom off.
Uh-huh.
Right in the middle of what I was
did.
saying. So I have no idea what you said for the last minute.
No, it's okay. I was just kind of reiterating stuff we were already talking about. But you started to say something.
Well, I did, because Jonathan is a Chiefs fan. Has been since he went to school there.
That's right.
And because he did 1 year at Christ for the Nations and 3 years at the International House of Prayer. And he loves the Chiefs. So 2 weeks ago, whenever it happened, whenever they made it, he rarely calls because he's got a busy life and he works 12-hour days, et cetera, outdoors every day. But I got a call. The Chiefs made the Super Bowl. Of course, so that shows how important it was to him. So I know what he's doing this first day of the week, enough so that he said, "Mom, can Mariah have cuddle night with you?" Which means, can she spend the night? Because we turn on movies and make a pallet on the floor and eat popcorn or do whatever, and just we've called it that since Jonathan was a little boy, because he had cuddle night with us.
Sure.
But anyway, so he is super excited, but it is unbelievable how many people, they can miss congregation, they can miss church, they can miss other things, but they're not going to miss the Super Bowl. And I have some stats for that.
Oh, you do,
What do you eat when you're watching the Super Bowl? Yeah, what do you? Well, I've already gave some out on Let Us Reason together. So I gave some of it away on Let Us Reason. But what do you eat during the Super Bowl?
What? Do what? Say? What do people what?
What do you eat?
What do you eat during the
What do
Super
you
Bowl?
eat?
Whatever snacks
Yeah.
are in
What
the
do you
cupboard, because
consume?
we never have a big party or anything, and we used to. You remember uh, Benai Shalom. Well, you don't remember, but when we lived in Norman, everybody got together over somebody's house and watched the Super Bowl or Survivor and those type of things. We
Really? That's
never had a
fun.
party. So what do we eat? Chips and cokes and drinks and all kinds of stuff. Just snacks, I guess. I don't know. I haven't been to that many Super Bowl parties, so I don't know.
I haven't done a Super Bowl party. I haven't even watched the Super Bowl and anyway, but the last Super Bowl party was before we switched our days from Sunday to Saturday. We were still studying
I see.
Hebrew, doing things like that, but it it was anyway. That's been a
Mhm.
long, long time. But I have a thing here that we can look at. Guess the amount of fat consumed on Super Bowl Sunday.
The
Who would
amount
have a
of
guess?
fat of
Fat.
food fat.
F-A-T, fat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Before I answer, let me just put a disclaimer out there. There's no possible way in the planet anybody can know this stuff, but I know they can guesstimate all this. But how much fat? I'm going to say 3 tons. I don't know.
Well, this says here, you may only be consuming 4,000 calories on Super Bowl Sunday, a figure that was pulled out of thin air. That's just that one was. According to the Calorie Control Council, the snacks eaten by Americans watching the Super Bowl will contain 4 million pounds of fat.
4 million what?
That's a lot.
4 million what?
Pounds of fat.
Pounds of fat.
Pounds.
Wow. Well, there's 2,000 pounds in a ton, and what I say, 40 tons. So I was probably pretty close. I don't know. Wow. Yeah, I'm sure they're
It makes you want to
guesstimating,
sink
but
in your
they
waist
still have.
a little bit.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
a
That's
lot of
that's
fat.
amazing.
I
Well,
think
go ahead.
on go ahead. Well, I was
No,
going to
go
say
ahead.
on
You
John's
had a thought. Go
show
ahead.
on Let Us Read,
Yeah. We got lag big time
Let
with
Us
it.
Read.
Go ahead.
I don't know what to do.
Go ahead.
Um,
I'll shut up and you finish your thought.
on John's show, it was like one of the big things consumed is pizza, and I can't remember but it like so many thousands of miles of pizza will
Uh-huh.
be
Uh-huh.
eaten on the Super Bowl.
Uh-huh.
So I don't remember the specific thing, but
Yeah.
yeah. Do you want me to shut down again?
No, it'll even out. It always does. It for some reason your bandwidth will catch up and will, anyway. It's okay. I'd stay. Don't leave. Don't leave me.
Okay.
There's a little bit of
All
lag,
right.
but so here's my input on that. You stats and you can ask questions and stuff. Did you know that it is legal to bet on the games and the spread on the games, which I never really understood because I don't gamble, I don't bet on anything, so I don't understand all that stuff. But it's legal to bet on anything that specifically has to do with the game and the people playing and the point spread and stuff like that. It's legal. But if you and I were to bet on how many bags of Doritos are sold for the Super Bowl game is illegal. If you want to bet whether or not Kelsey is going to propose to Taylor Swift after the game, that's illegal. Isn't that?
I don't
Isn't
even
that
know who Kelsey is.
yeah, I know that's all a big hoopla deal or whatever, but still, I thought that was real interesting, is because you hear people betting on certain things like you're fat. I mean, I bet there was 40 tons of fat, that type of thing. You can't bet on that. That's illegal. But you could bet on the game. You could bet on even specific things in the game. But I think it's crazy. I mean, it's the same thing. I guess there's a lot of things that people are betting on the Oscars, which is coming up in a month. And, you can't. There's only specific things that legally they allow people to bet on, in public. I guess in public, so I don't know. I thought that was interesting. That little fact that toyed that I heard this past week. Anyway, so yes, we will. It's so funny because we had here at Lamb, all of us, not all of us, but some of us at Lamb had a meeting a week ago last Sunday, and I set up the meeting for 3:00 Eastern time for all of us to get together. And then I found out that the Chiefs were playing the playoffs to see if they were going to the Super Bowl. And it started at 3. And I'm going, oh man, this was stupid because I want to watch this, but I couldn't change the meeting. So I didn't let you guys know until the end, but it's okay. We got to go. The Chiefs are playing. So
How long was the meeting?
I were gone, but we missed a few minutes of it. Not bad, but yeah, we like it.
Good.
And, it's not like we're infatuated with football or sports or anything like that. It's just a simple fact that we, through the years, we kind of had fun with it with other people, and now when our team is playing, then yeah, we want to watch and enjoy, and of course get on the phone with everybody else. And my daughter Sarah is a huge Chiefs fan, so what was it? It was I was watching a probably taking this much farther than we planned on taking it, but what was it? Watching somebody whose daughters are 49ers, they're 49er fans rooting for the 49ers, but the two daughters are also big just Taylor Swift fans. So they're rooting for both 49ers and the Chiefs because Taylor Swift is dating Kelsey, one of the Kelsey brothers on the Chiefs. So they're torn. Who do we want to win? Because it's like, oh my gosh. Now, see, that's taking it to the next level, which I'm not interested in. But the Chiefs have won 3 out of 5 Super Bowls.
Well, I would be interested
3 out of 5 Super Bowls. So that's pretty big. Go ahead. Sorry. Still lagging.
Oh, I was going to say I'd be interested to know how many where people on Lamb stand, Chiefs or 49ers? Which is it? I don't know. It'd be interesting to know that.
I don't know either. I'm good luck with that one. Don't send me an email telling me what you like. So anyway,
no, you have to put it in the chat. In the chat.
That's right. Oh, put it in the chat. That's right. The chat. We have a chat, don't we? All right, put it in the chat. I don't know. On a little heavier note, did you hear that Toby Keith died this past week?
No.
Yeah. Apparently he has had cancer for quite some time now. And the oh my gosh, I saw his last interview, and I thought they were interviewing somebody that knows Toby Keith, because that person they were interviewing was 100% non recognizable. I mean, he has dwindled literally down to nothing. His face was all sunken in and really old looking. He was 62 when he died, but he looked like 75 or 80 or more. Really, really rough, really skinny. You know, it ate him up. But I guess it was just a few days ago that he passed at 62 of cancer. Yeah, I had no idea. I don't follow him. And another one of those things, kind of a family preference. You know, we always like Toby Keith. Besides the fact that our family used to live right across the alley from Toby Keith at one time. So, you know, we never got to meet him, but, you know, okay, all right. So if you went to the back part of our backyard, there's a fence. And if you lean way over the fence and look way, way down there, you can see Toby Keith's fireplace coming, you know, his outside, you can see the fireplace sticking up out of the top of his house. So, you know, it's kind of like, he's you know, just across the alley down there, kind of thing. So yeah, that's our only connection we had with Toby Keith. We lived across the alley from him. Are you still
cool.
in and out?
Very cool.
You're lagging big time. Yeah, go away, come back, and I'll fill in, and we'll see in a minute. Let's see if it does any good. All right. Hello. Goodbye. Goodbye. There she goes. Okay. Well, she reboots, I guess. I guess she gonna. Are you going to shut completely? There she can put. All right. So once again, oh, we talk about some crazy stuff on here. You know, we're messianic. We are pretty messy. There's a lot of things out there. I am not as orthodox messianic as maybe a lot of people might think that I am. You know, because I own the Lamb Network, and you know, I mean, I live my life, and I love the Lord, and I've done this long enough to know what it takes, and so anyway, uh, if I like Toby Keith, it's okay. And if I'm sorry that he passed, it's okay. You know, if I like the Super Bowl, it's okay. You know, I mean, it's a good thing. It's not those kind of things that send a person to hell, because I don't even, you know, I'm not even going to go there at all. So I hope, no, I'm not going to go there. But, you know, it's one of those things where each person has their own relationship with the Lord, and can make their own decisions, adult, mature decisions to and how they walk. And some people are a little more orthodox in their walk, and abide by the letter of the law, and all that kind of thing. I'm not so much letter of the law kind of person. I love the Lord, and I will do what he says, and I will follow his laws, his Torah laws, and I will love the Lord, and I will live my life. And so I don't know, I'm not being defensive at all. I'm just saying, Sandy and I have done a massive amount of shows. Our first show was January 1st of 2017. And during that time, during that first year and a half after that, we did 5 and 6 shows a week together on a show called Only Visiting This Planet back in the old radio days. And so Sandy and I have done quite a few shows together. We fit together in doing these, and we know how to read off of each other. So it's been a good years in putting all these together. I don't know if you watch on a regular basis. We usually try to do a uh, beginning skit at the first of the show called Newscasting Ancient Times. And what we do is we'll take specific scenarios that are in the four Gospels and write a script around the fact that there was not a fact, but a script around what if there were news services and broadcasting in television back in Yeshua's day, and if there were, how would the news reporters cover Yeshua? And all the work he did, all the different things he did in healing people and setting forth a lifestyle that shows how we can live and what we should do, that type of thing. And so it's been fun. We've done 27 or 28 of them now. And we're working ourselves to almost the end of his ministry. And so take a look for those soon, probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Up on the website, you'll be able to go right to it and watch all the different episodes that we've done on this. They're interesting. It's a different way to look at it. It's a different perspective to see things, and I'm always huge on different perspectives on things. So when I study, when I read, I always like to put myself into the perspective of whatever I'm reading. So if I'm reading the Bible and I'm reading the Gospels, I try to put myself in there. And what would it be like if I was actually there and experiencing the whole thing? So looks like we got Sandy back. Let's see how she's doing. Picture's clear.
Good.
Oh, good. We're no lugging.
Okay, good, because the computer looks like it's not charging.
Charging.
Yeah, it looks like that's what the issue is. So,
Oh, here, do this. Plug it in.
anyway, so I was
Okay.
good. I'm glad it's better. And I'm
It's a
sorry,
whole lot better.
folks.
Whole lot better. All right. Well, we're going to go on to the second third of the show, and Sandy's going to talk a little bit, and then I'm going to come in and discuss it with her. So we'll be right back.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the streets of gold. We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet.
Well, let me ask you a question, everybody. How much is enough? What do you consider lack? What do you consider want? What do you consider need? Well, in the United States, anyway, at least in Western cultures, what we want and what we need seems to be a lot, or what we think we need anyway. But let's go back to Psalm 23. And I talked a little bit about it last time we were here too, but we're going to go to another verse. The first verse: Yah is my shepherd, I shall not want. Okay. Well, if you just read that surface and you're not studying, you say, well, I shouldn't want for anything in the world. So what's going on? Well, most of us suffer from this thing called the I wants, or the we always want something. Let's just put it that way. The bigger, the better, the newer, the stronger. That's who we are, unfortunately. In fact, a question was asked of John D. Rockefeller. Hopefully, you guys or probably know who he is. You know, he's the founder of Standard Oil and the first American billionaire. And they asked him, how much is enough? And he said, just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. And he has more resources than most of us could even fathom. So we might point our finger, but when we compare our lives to others around the world, we have more than many could even fathom. So maybe we don't have the resources of a billionaire or even greater than that, but we have those same questions that face us because we are an obsessed culture. We are obsessed with getting more, spending more, doing more. So we, in the midst of all that, we forget who provides for us, and we may forget the bigger picture too. What are the things that we have for? Are they for us? Are they for us to bless others? Are they for us to be able to spread his word? Those are things we've got to consider because every one of us wakes up and we are a bundle of desires beneath the surface. We all have wants, we all have needs, fears, loves, all of these things. And each of those things, it wants our attention. Each of those things wants our obedience. And many of us move through our days. Maybe we aren't even conscious, or maybe we are, of those basic emotions that are driving us, the I wants. Even though we sit at the control panel of our heart, so to speak, pulling the levers that decide what we do and what we say. Let's go for some examples. You've been a hard day at work, and what your deepest desire is to just go to a place of love and comfort. So what you do is you come home and maybe you ignore your spouse and your kids because all you want to do is sit on the couch and turn on the television. But does that really fulfill what needs to happen in your home? Or you're an employee or anybody actually, and you find yourself performing, so to speak, because you want the, hey, that was amazing. You you go girl, or you go guy, or all the accolades and applause of others that are around you because you did so well at what you're doing. Or maybe your deepest desire is, and you don't even realize it, is you really long for a relationship, but you've been so wounded before you can't even go there. See, there's wants and needs and desires that aren't even necessarily those things that we think about there at the front. Well, I want this new car. I want this new house. I want this new phone, whatever it is. But despite this unparalleled wealth material sort of mindset, we are basically an insecure people. We're unsure of ourselves. And honestly, at least in Western culture, we're pretty much bankrupt of any spiritual values. Not saying you and I are, but the world around us, yeah, they are. We are restless people, unsettled, we're covetous, we're greedy, always wanting more, wanting this, wanting that, never really satisfied with anything because there's such a turmoil in our spirit. Well, we know that King David, the writer of this psalm, he understood that Yahweh was his provider. He understood that. He wrote about it. But he also wrote about it from a shepherd's perspective, which we always need to look at. Wow, what perspective did he write that from? Because what did he do? He spent his youth tending his father's flocks. So he did know a few things about what a shepherd does. Yah is my shepherd, I shall not want. He compared his relationship with Yah to the sheep and the shepherd himself. So maybe we need to look at that and find out what does that really mean? Because there's imagery that underlines God's personal care, his guidance, his protection, his provision. And we know that King David, he trusted in Yah wholly. He trusted in him. And he knew that he would not lack anything because Yahweh was his shepherd. Okay? Well, let's think about sheep for a minute, because sheep, when they're left to fend for themselves, they're probably going to die. Yeah, because they're vulnerable, they're helpless animals. They can't provide for themselves because of everything else out there. So the shepherd leads the flock to fresh water, leads the flock to pasture. He cares for the sheep when they're injured. He takes care of bugs and things that are on them, anoints them with oil. And if the shepherd's not around, the sheep scatter and they become lost. Unless they stay near the shelter and protection of the shepherd, they have no hope for survival from the attacks of wolves and other predators that are around. But when they remain under the watchful eye of the shepherd, they're safe. When you and I remain under the watchful eye of the shepherd, we should be able to say that we shall not want because he meets our every need. So with that being said, let's go to the Hebrew and see if we can uncover, what does that exactly mean? What does it mean to take care of our wants? The word is lo asher, not shall I lack, is actually how it's in reality done in the Hebrew. Not shall I lack. So these words are really fundamental principles of scripture, because Yah, what does he do? He rewards the righteous, right? And he punishes the wicked. Well, sometimes we can all fall under that purview, but if we allow Yahweh to shepherd us, if we listen to his direction, if we pay attention to his prods and his nudges, then in his promises we will not lack, because he rewards our obedience. He corrects and ultimately punishes disobedience. Yeah, because he loves us. So we are capable of getting lost, and he will come find us. He may not carry us back, or we may come back broken. We may come back full of shame, but he is there. He is there, and he wants to take care of us. We might come back kicking and screaming because we wanted to do it our way, but we quickly find out that our way doesn't work. It doesn't. We like to be in control, but our way doesn't work. Lo Asher is the picture. When you look at the Paleo Hebrew, I'm not going to go into each letter right now for time purposes, but it's strong control over the strength to separate support from the person. What does that mean? Is that those things that would try to separate us from Yah and his provision and his love cannot touch us. In other words, to lack is to have strength taken from you. But when you look at the Hebrew, it's telling us that he's going to make sure that we have the strength that we need. When we lack, it means that we are weak, that we're deficient. And when Haser describes your life, it means that you are incapacitated, desperately so, that you're starving from malnutrition, and you dream of things because you don't have those things. This word asher comes from the root shazar, which means chazar, which means to lack or decrease, but it also means to be deficient. It comes from this Persian word hasira, which means to suffer a loss. Okay. So when we look at what David was saying, Yahweh's shepherding means that you and I will never reach the point of death from lack of nourishment. Well, what do I mean by nourishment? Because when we think of nourishment, all we do is think about food. And yes, that does mean food too, but that means Yah will feed, because he is the bread of life. Yeshua is the bread of life. He's the manhu, the manna that they gathered. He will take us to green pastures. He leads us. He makes a way. Where he makes a way down a narrow path, yes, it is, to find rest, which is Yeshua. And that is where we go if we will keep ourselves on the path away from chaos. He will give us this drink, and he gives us this drink of living water, the word made flesh, Yeshua, which is life within us. And he's going to protect us because he is the shield, the buckler. And he is the one, when you look at that, he is the one that receives those arrows and those things that fly your way if you will allow him. And when you're under his care, you shall not fear, because he did not give you a spirit of fear. See, a shepherd's job is to make sure the sheep are not deficient in what they need to exist. And Yah does that. He makes sure we have all of those things, but he also gives us the attention and the recognition we need, because we need time with him. In fact, when you are not spending intimate time with him, there's a part of your spirit that's crying out and in great lack and in great need, because there needs to be an encounter with your Savior. There needs to be an encounter with your Yah. There needs to be an encounter with Yeshua. So that personal time he will take for us, but sometimes we reject that time. He will take the time so he can tend to his sheep too, so he can tend to us, take care of us, clothe us, and give us what we need when we need it. So let's go back to this Persian concept of chazar or hasira, because we can even take it a little further on what a shepherd does, because the shepherd, Yeshua, Yah, he's not going to allow us to suffer loss. So the very basis of fear that we most often have is that we're afraid we're going to lose something that we have: friend, family, finances, home, livelihood, all of these different things, our health, a job, friend, financial security. And many of these things can be easily lost or taken from us. But this Persian concept of the word is very clear, for it says we shall never suffer any loss of the love of Yahweh, because he is supposed to be our greatest want, our greatest need, and our greatest desire. Romans 8:35-39 says, who shall separate us from the love of Messiah? Tribulation, distress, persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? As it is written, for thy sake we are killed all day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yah, which is Messiah Yeshua, Yahweh. Yeah. But what do? Back to our kicking and screaming. Sometimes we get lost on purpose. We stray away because, well, we think we can handle it or do it much better. So we run away from his shepherdings. We get lost our true purpose because we think we know our own purpose. So we're going to follow what we believe is our purpose. We decide that our way is better. It's better. God doesn't know. He doesn't really understand, or he doesn't care, which is a lie. So we starve ourselves with all the abundance that we have because we're lacking so much spiritually. We grow fat in body, but we starve in spirit. We live like Sodom. We forget his mercies. We're consumed by other things. And we soon realize that all we have is the food for pigs. Yeah. Yes, he will sustain us and he will welcome us back, just as the prodigal. He's still our shepherd. But we have to want to be found. We have to want to be under his care. If we treat questions lightly, like, will he sustain me? Or will he welcome me back? Then we truly don't understand who he is, because of course he will, because you are his desire. He created you for fellowship with you. He delights in his flock because you are his treasure. And just as he is our treasure, you are his treasured possession. You are. Yeshua knows you better than you know yourself. He knows your needs. He knows your desires, and he will go to no end of trouble and honor and labor to make sure that he provides what you need. It may not be the way you think it should be or I think it should be, but he takes care of us nonetheless. Are we satisfied? Hebrews 13:5 says, let your conduct be without covetousness. Be content with such things as you have, for he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. See, we will never be left or forsaken with him, because he should be our deepest desire. He should be the thing we need more than anything, and he will fill us. He will fill us. Are you content? Philippians 4:11-13. So often we say, I can do all things through him who strengthens me, but we don't say the other part. Not that I speak from need, for I have learned to be content in whatever circumstances I am. I know how to get along with little, and I also know how to live in prosperity. And in any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of being filled and going hungry, both of having abundance and suffering need. And then it says, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. We may not always have everything we desire, but we can always trust that he's going to provide everything we need, all that we need, just as he did with Israel in the wilderness. He will always be with us, blessing us, taking care of us, watching over step, guiding us, and leading us if we allow him to, and yes, correcting us. But we will never be in want for him, for he will not leave us. He will not leave us. He is the thing that we need the most to fill us, so that we're not bankrupt spiritually, so that we're not lacking spiritually. And then as he guides us and leads us, we completely trust in him. We shall not lack. We shall not want. Or as it is written in the Hebrew, it says what? It says, not shall I lack. Mark.
What?
It's good to see your face.
I remember years and years and years ago, and this obviously stuck in my head. driving down, like in Los Angeles, driving down like an 8-lane interstate or whatever through Los Angeles. And I'm driving down one of the lanes, and in my rearview mirror, I can see this guy coming up behind me pretty quick. And so kind of keep an eye on this person. Pretty soon they go around me and zip on down the road. And as he went around me and got in front of me, I could see his license tag said CUZICAN.
Susie can.
Cause I can. CUZICAN. Cause I can. So basically, he was doing whatever he wanted to because he can. And, people that get in a frame of mind that I don't have to follow the rules, I've gotten by most of my life, without getting in trouble by skirting the edge of things or, just barely going over so I don't get caught and all that kind of stuff. To me, those kind of people are the ones that obviously need God the most, but they're also the ones that rarely ever, when you're explaining to them the vastness of God or what God can do and that help that God can get, they're really not interested. But there's a spot in the back part of their brain where it sits there and it sits there. And at some point in this person's life, they are going to lack. Things are going to start falling apart. Things are not going to always go the way they think they can. They're at some point they're going to get pulled over, for weaving or going too fast or whatever. And in their despair, there's that little thing back there that's just good, that God will activate. The Holy Spirit will just activate and say, you know what, I remember what that guy was saying, and I really need you right now, God. So lack can be in a lot of different ways, spiritual lack and just making decisions based on your abundance. And obviously, if you're in the United States, even if you're a homeless person in the United States, you rarely lack. We've talked about this before. I lived on the street as a homeless person for 10 months. And I remember it vividly. And I was probably the biggest life lesson that I've ever had, that it stays with me. And even probably every day there's something that I learned because of doing this that I still go through. And that is that I don't lack. I even as a homeless person, there was always a way. There was a way to find a way to get shelter, or get food, or get money, or something, And I think a lot of people think that, especially homeless people, they're just lacking. When we've talked about this, when basically the majority of homeless people actually have a place to go. They actually have family that will take them in if they'll just humble themselves and let the family take them in, or friends or whoever. And they're perceived as lack, but it's our perception on life in general. As we live, especially as Americans, where we literally have no lack to survive. We can make things happen in this country that other people can't. And I think because of that, I believe that in itself is one of the main reasons people slack from the Lord. They may even know the Lord, But when you're in abundance and you don't have any need, even when you're in abundance and things are falling short or things are not going as well as you thought they should, we seem to, some people, I mean, we do, some people seem to be able to find their own way, even though in the back corner of their mind, there's the Lord somewhere in there. They've heard about the Lord. Some people have even given their lives to the Lord, but there is no gratefulness there for the abundance that we have. And when you are not grateful for something, you totally lose the value and the essence of that thing. And we in America are so abundant in everything, no matter what it is. Even God, there's a church on every corner, for God's sake. We're not even in lack for spiritual guidance. I'm not going to say that most of them are good integrity, but at least it's there. It's when you're in abundance is probably your lowest point of gratitude, for most people. And like what I was just saying, living 10 months as a homeless person probably taught me more about gratitude and value than any other time of my life or any other situations I've ever been in, because I literally forced myself. I didn't have to be homeless. I chose it. And that in itself, not that I thought, well, I'm going to do this and learn some things about life. I mean, I never even thought about it. I just did it. But it really does, I think, boil down to lack. The lack that we have is a direct correlation with gratitude and what we understand and what we acknowledge as truth and where God is, that type of thing. I think it's interesting that our money and the side of most police cars say, "In God we trust." Isn't
If
that,
it were only so.
what's that?
If it were only so.
If it were only so. Because it's almost like every time you see that written out, it's like, which God exactly is it that you're referring to here? Because, there's many gods, so you can pick and choose which one you want. But anyway, and I think I've probably already covered this one is to say that lack makes a person weak. I'm not so sure that in some instances lack is the strongest way to be, because it brings on gratitude. It brings hopefully it does. Any person with integrity should literally grasp hold of gratitude when they're in the lack. And to me, that makes a person stronger, and you have to acknowledge that. So that's where I see it.
It's good. It's a good observation.
Good.
And when we say that when you're lack, it makes you weak, I don't think it makes you're at a point where you have to make a decision. Do you trust in yourself, in your own power?
Right.
Or do you trust in Yahweh?
Exactly.
You finally turn your head and look to your true provider in all things. And again, we're not just talking about finances, we're talking about everything. Because we talked about approval and comfort and all of these things concerning this, not shall I lack, not shall I want. And so it makes us, we're weak in that we are weak in and of ourselves. And we can choose to still try to take care of it all ourselves, which we ultimately will always, every time, fail.
Yeah.
Because even as I started off with Rockefeller, if you look at those that have more than we could even think, they are still not satisfied.
That's right.
They're not satisfied. And why? Because maybe they're trying to fill in with material things, but it's the spiritual, that hole that's within them, that it's not satisfied, because there is no savior there. There is no Yeshua. And so you are at your weak point when you don't have Yeshua. So
That's right.
guiding and leading you.
That is right. That is right. And some people have to be completely stripped of everything they have before they can actually get to a point where they no longer have lack, because they choose God instead. And of course, with God, there is no lack. I mean, we can put our trust in horses, trust in God, so
that's exactly right.
And I don't know, I maybe on the side of police cars it should say in horses we trust, or in horsepower we trust, or in ourselves we trust,
in man we trust. Man, that's a humanistic thought, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Humanist, all the way humanistic. But that is the God that most serve are themselves. So yeah, they're the ones.
So, does the dollar bills still say? I don't have one in front of me. Look around. I don't have bills in front of me. Do they still say "In God We Trust"?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't look at them. I just take them out of my wallet and give them to people. So I don't look at what I'm giving them. I look at the little numbers in the corners. They're all I really ever.
Exactly.
There's a whole nother topic we can go for right there. Well, so here's a question then. If let's say that our money still says "In God We Trust," and since our government and our financial system does not trust in God, what should it say? In what we trust?
Well, I think we've got to go back though, because you get self-fulfilling prophecies. So even if it's not what we're actually doing, I don't think it should say anything other than that, because it's what we should be doing. So when we start saying what actually is, then we're not supposed to call things that are as though they are. We're supposed to call things that are not as though they are, according to the word. So we speak life. And no matter how, I mean, the U.S., Western culture, the world is messed up, but there are still many people of faith that do cling to God, that cling to Yeshua, that know Jesus. I'm not saying it's like it should be, but there are still vestiges of faith throughout our country and the countries around the world. So I think that we don't need to say what is, we need to say what we would desire it to be. And we would want a nation that trusts in Yah and none other.
That's good. Very good. I like it.
So that's it. Oh, and by the way, folks, again, you can go back to Life of Worship Ministries YouTube page and find this whole teaching on Psalm 23 under a playlist, Life of Worship Ministries. Go there and you can find the whole thing.
Very good.
I went into a lot more detail when I did it on Walking in Spirit and Truth. So, yeah.
Okay, very good, though. I like it. Sure, a lot of different ways we can go. So. All right, we're going to go into our last third here. We'll be right back.
We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet, dancing in the streets of gold. We'll be dancing in the streets, dancing at his feet.
Boy, that was quick, wasn't it? I just
That was
pulled
really
that.
fast.
I just pulled that out of. There, I guess I should double it up or something. I don't know. You ready to do a top 10 challenge there, Sandy Lou?
Sure,
Sure.
I am.
It's
And each of
so
mine has an explanation, so I don't know how you want to do it. I'll just say it and then I'll explain it after you guess, maybe.
well. I'm we we're supposed to figure out what this is the top 10 of for each other.
Okay. Yes.
That's what we're doing, and we start with number 10 and work to 1, just as we normally do. So I was just noticing it's real interesting the you know how your walls are brown or gold and everything,
Uh-huh.
and the way you can see it on yours, you notice that your entryway there is actually almost a different screen or something, and it's blue, and it just looks like you have a great big television on the wall or something, and there's another show going on right there because it's blue, because it's different.
Well, in actuality, because it has a big window when the sun is pouring in from the east, because it faces east. So the
Right.
sun is pouring in. It's actually a brown color. It's the one
Oh,
place
yeah,
I left.
yeah.
I left that room. I mean, it's stained like a literally brown, and it's really pretty. And it's the only place in the house that I didn't paint because I
Oh,
liked it. I've always wanted to um, put a Bible verse. I've been here enough 20 years. It should have already been done, but there's a Bible verse I've always wanted to put in as people walk in. Well, you've
uh-huh.
been in my house, you know what it
That's
looks like.
cool. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like it.
but
I
it's
like it.
the sun.
No,
It's what the
just
sun does.
all right. Who's going to start?
You.
Okay, number 10. They got out of the habit.
Mistakes people make when they're not thinking.
Nope, that's not it. Not even close.
Do you have an explanation on that one or anything?
No, I can't explain any of them. It'll tell you straight out what the top 10
Okay.
topic is.
So here's mine. Take a stuffed animal to the vet.
Take a stuffed animal to the vet. Oh, top 10 things to do when you have to take your kids on your daily chores.
Nope.
So if
And
you
I
got
was
to go to
gonna
a vet, you got to take your kid. You need to take a stuffed animal
say,
along.
you know,
with
that
it.
is a really good thought. That's a really good thought. But when you take your stuffed animal to the vet, don't forget to act all freaked out too. You have to act it out and have
Oh,
a
a stuffed
name and a
animal.
background story
I'm
and
getting
ready
it.
to go as well.
I'm getting it.
And yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. But the general subject I don't get. So,
Nope.
okay. Number 9. They decided they didn't like the leadership. You're probably going to get it right off. They got out of the habit. Number 10. Number 9, they decided they didn't like the leadership.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Way
Okay.
the,
You'll
the
get
way
you'll
the
get it.
the
Mine's
way the
pretty
people
easy.
of the United States act towards true leadership. I don't know.
No, that's not it. Okay.
Mine is refer to a stranger as mom.
Refer to a stranger as mom
Yeah.
and take a stuffed animal to the vet. Let's see.
Yes.
I don't want to go there. My brain just went somewhere else. Things Ruby Frankie would do. I don't know. I don't know. I blank on this. I don't even know where to go with it yet. So give me some more, and as we go, I'll figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. Number 8. They were spiritually hurt.
Why people don't go to church.
That's it. You got it. Top 10 reasons for people not going to church anymore.
Anymore. Yeah.
Or I say top 10 reasons why people are leaving the church. Okay.
Any excuse to do. Any excuse.
Huh? I knew you wouldn't have any problem figuring it out once we got 3 or 4. It's just, it starts adding up there.
I hear that one so often myself.
Yeah, I know.
That when you said that one, it was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. So they got out of the habit. They decided they didn't like leadership. They were spiritually hurt. So that's only number 8, Sandy.
Well, we got a long way to go. I want to hear the rest of people's excuses, especially since I lead a congregation. And I've heard them all, and I could probably add a few on there.
All right. You're number 8, I guess.
Put Vaseline on your hand and give somebody a handshake.
Yours
Yeah.
Yours is going to be hard. Top 10 reasons people are whacked. Top 10 reasons people top 10 things people do crazy in public. I don't know. No. Okay.
Nope.
Number 7, they moved and never went back. Yeah, see, now you already figured it out. Mine's no fun anymore.
Yes, it is, because I'm trying to, I was thinking, have I heard that one?
Yeah.
No, but I have heard the other 3. So
but I mean, it could be in yours, since they moved to the other side of Amarillo.
Yeah.
And never came back. It's like they could still drive across Amarillo and still go to church, but because they moved 3 miles away,
Well, with that being said, I can say when we moved 2 miles away from our current location, because we're back in our first location, well,
right,
so to speak, that we had people say did that very thing. We moved 2 miles, and so they just couldn't go back.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah. True statement.
Looking for a reason not to go back, I think, is what you're talking about.
Actually, that whole list is that, looking for a reason. Yeah, searching out.
We can genuinely say that we left because, so don't give us a hard time. Anyway,
that's right.
All right, so I think you're number 7.
Yes. Put blue Gatorade in a Windex bottle and drink it in front of others. Blue Gatorade in a Windex bottle.
Blue Gatorade.
Yeah, so it looks like Windex.
I get it. Oh, top 10 things to do to freak people out.
It's closer.
Yep,
it's closer.
Okay. All right. Number 6, they left when their leader changed. Actually, I changed it to leader because if it's pastor. So they left when their pastor changed. So
that's true. Here's what I found with the sheep in a congregation as a pastor. And I've known it as I've pastored other I haven't been the senior pastor in other congregations, but I've been pastoring in other places. But every place I know, but especially since my husband and I co-pastor, so we're the lead pastors where we're at. Any change normally causes people to leave, period. Whether it's a leader, a pastor, if there's a change, people jump ship.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And what I don't understand is that a congregation is like your family. You go through thick, you go through thin. You don't always agree, but et cetera, et cetera. It's supposed to be a family. You're supposed to stick, because you don't abandon your family when there's a change.
Right.
Anyway,
well, so I left because they switched the drawers where the silverware was. They put the silverware in a different drawer, and I couldn't handle it, so I left.
I see that for sure. Yep.
Okay. You're number 6.
Jump into a taxi, then shout, "Follow that car!"
Oh, Oh, okay. Top 10 things to do that you saw in a movie.
Nope.
No. All right. Okay. Number 5. They had a need and felt no one helped. I'm not laughing at them. I'm laughing at your response.
Well,
That's never happened to you. Never.
oh,
You could never could have had that happen to you.
when I hear those, I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. Well, you didn't do this, you didn't do that. I was pointing out to the congregation on Shabbat because we were talking about the Torah portion, of course, Yitro, and we were talking about the leaders and talking about Moshe, needing help. And even when you talk about pastors and elders and deacons and things, there's supposed to be something about the leader being able to go to that word and spend time in the word, and others come along and help and do some of that other stuff, visitation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, us, we have it all on our plate. But the thing is that one person is not supposed to be your need. It's not your need meter. And here's something that I hear from people. Well, you didn't call me, Pastor Sandi. And you know what I've said? How many times did you call me?
Uh-huh.
You
Mhm.
knew that John and I were going through this or for that. How many times did I receive a call?
Uh-huh.
It's usually this 0. And that's fine because Yah is my source. But I have heard that so many times. Yes.
They're lacking.
Yeah, see, your list is good because it has me going.
Well, I was actually thinking we could have just done this whole third just on my list and let
on your
you and
list.
I talk about these things that we could have done, but we're good. That's fine. It's okay. All
Yeah.
right. So that was your number 5 then.
I might have 6 more. I don't know. I don't know. Have an argument with a mannequin in a store.
Okay. Top 10 things I need to do as soon as this show's over.
It's pretty close.
Is it the top 10 things Mark wants to do?
Well, no, but I could sure rename it.
All right. My number 4. They never felt connected.
Okay. I hear that. And you want to know something? This is what I say. How can you feel connected when you show up after our tour studies or services start and you leave literally the very second it ends? How can you, and you refuse to come to the feast or to other things? Tell me how you can feel connected. You have to invest yourself. It's impossible to feel connected if you don't try to connect, if you don't stay around in fellowship. And I have heard that probably more than anything. Well, I don't feel connected right now. Well, what are you doing? What have I always heard? To have a friend, you need to be a friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
So when you're doing your teaching and everything, and now you're finished up and you say, okay, let's pray. And you glance up and 3 or 4 people are putting their jackets on. They're getting their stuff together. They're situating themselves in their seat. Just as soon as you say, okay, now let's pray. Those people aren't connected? I don't get it.
And it's those people that I hear, I don't feel connected.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I do hear that a lot. I don't feel connected.
I don't doubt. I really don't doubt. I thought you'd like these.
I do because it has me going.
You're number 4.
Oh, bring a fishing pole to an aquarium.
Definitely top 10 things I really want to do. I need you to send me this list when you're done and I'll go do all these things. So, all right. Not it.
Not it.
10 things that, a fun person would want to do. How about that?
It's true. My dad would do something like that. I mean, he wouldn't actually think about
Sure.
doing that, but my dad's the type of person who would go. I mean, was he would go in and do something like that, bring a fishing pole. I think I've said this before on air, but in the mall here, back when it first opened, they have these copper or metal figurines sitting at a table, and I couldn't find my dad. I was a teenager, and I was looking, and sure enough, what's he then? Oh, and those people at that table are playing cards. So he's sitting at that table with those things in a roped off area,
Love it.
acting like he's playing cards. So my dad would totally do these things.
I love it. I would too. This is the type of thing I would love to do. I can picture finding a waiting room for a pediatric care. So it's a waiting room with a whole bunch of kids and their parents and stuff, one with an aquarium. And you just come in with this fishing pole with this big old fat worm already on the hook. And you walk in and you drop it into the aquarium and watch the kids, see their expressions and what I would love it. I would,
Yeah.
I would love it. I would just love it. So, all right. My number 3, they had a bad experience. Anybody ever had a bad experience at your?
Oh, I'm sure. But they don't tell me to my face.
They don't tell you until
And what does the word say? What the word says, if you have aught with your brother, you're supposed to go to your brother. You're not supposed to go to everybody else. But here's my experience is that if you have issue, you go to everybody else instead of the leaders or the people you have an issue with, or you think the perceived issue, because usually it's miscommunication, or as if you have other things, resentment, offense, bitterness, grumbling, complaining, it discolors what's actually happening, and you see things not as they are, but as through the eyes that are clouded. And our congregation, whether it's church or this way, people, or Messianic Hebrew roots, people are huge gossips, and they like to destroy and murder character. That's all I can say. It's that way in both, but honestly, you want to know where I think it's worse? The Messianic Hebrew roots community.
Yeah. I'm with you.
By the way, guys, it is murder. In fact, when you are murdering somebody's character, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. That's not true. In fact, the words can destroy, and it can't be resurrected. Well, y'all can always do that. But people, here's what I'm going to be real blunt. Go to the person that you have issue with and shut your mouth. There you go.
True that. You got it. All right.
It's my turn. 3. Meow every time you receive an email. Meow. So if you get an email, just meow. Whether it's in public, especially if you get it on your phone. Meow.
Oh man.
Like I can hear John's phone all the time, every time he gets an email. Man. So instead of that sound, just meow.
Okay. I have the answer to your top 10.
Okay.
Top 10 things impractical jokers do.
Oh, but that's.
Have you ever watched?
There's several things you said that are close. Yeah.
Have you ever watched the show Impractical Jokers?
No. Never. I don't even know where it's on. I don't know.
It's four New York guys that grew up together, and they're adults and they're all married, and their show is they go out into different businesses and places, and they get behind the scenes and tell one of the four. For instance, if they went to a White Castle, okay, and they have before, so they get behind the counter as though they're a worker at White Castle waiting on people, but they have a headset on, and the other 3 guys go behind the walls and they tell the person what to do or say when the customer comes up, or things are going on, or different things. And I mean, it's not just that. They'll go to grocery stores and they have to do it one by one because it's a challenge. And so one of them will go out and literally walk around the grocery store with their cart, go and take something out of somebody's cart and put it into theirs and move on and go to the next one. And they get points if they how many more they can do than the other four guys. It's a massively funny show, but it's a little off.
That sounds funny.
It's questionable, but it's one of those, like, whose line is it anyway, where you will laugh from the second you start until it's over with. There's another thing I wish we'd done a lot more skits from. It's like, whose line is it anyway?
I love Whose Line Is It
Some
Anyway?
massively funny skits on there. But anyway, okay, so where are we at here?
We're on number 2.
So Impractical Jokers is not top 10 jokers then, huh?
No.
Okay, number 2, they convert to a different religion.
I haven't had that one,
Well,
but that I know of. That you
know of, right? In other words, they come to your services 5 times and then they convert to Christianity. So, it's like.
Okay. Okay. Now that you said that, we did have somebody that got upset over they weren't coming. They're part of our congregation, but don't attend regularly. But they did get frustrated with some things in the Hebrew community, and they briefly did do that. So, and then
that happens every single day. I mean, it's rare that Messianics go back to Christianity once they know the truth, and they realize paganity. I think that's, to me, the number one difference between Christianity and the Messianic lifestyle is the pagan, what I call paganity. But okay, so you're number 2.
It is so all over. It is so all over our faith as well. I don't know if anybody's gone and listened to my series, but you need to. You're going to be, wow, we're still following so many pagan ways.
We are. The church is.
So is our community.
Yeah, I know, but
not as, I know what you're meaning.
Not blatant. Anyway, realizing that God hates things pagan was the number one reason why I stopped living a Christian lifestyle and lived Messianic lifestyle. Number one reason. All right, we need to finish up here. You're number 2.
Wow. Okay, my number 2. I'm going to put this delicately. Okay. Accuse someone of tooting in an elevator. Even better, do it yourself, and then accuse somebody. And Now, you've heard my story. Mom cannot smell. Some reason my aunt is having issues with that too. It's just that she can't smell. So they'd be in the grocery store and Daddy would do that, and then he'd walk away and leave Mom in the aisle by herself. So everybody that that came by would be like,
wow.
And she would have no idea.
Wow. I used to work with a guy that couldn't smell. And so I would smoke my pot around him all the time. He had no idea I was smoking. Never mind.
Number 1.
Number 1, they don't believe in God anymore. That was the number 1 thing on different surveys that I got.
I'm trying to think if I've had that one.
That's why they leave church.
Then you never were really there in the first place.
I know. Yeah. Anyway.
My number 1 is vacuum your lawn. Get out your vacuum cleaner and put it on your lawn and start to go back and forth with it. Vacuum your lawn.
The problem is that my neighbors would not find that interesting.
Uh-oh. Oh, my.
My neighbors would walk up and say, "Oh, We used to have a lawn vacuum. I used to love the old Bill Cosby records, and he had one that said, it was like, what do you say to somebody that has a hippopotamus in their living room? What you say is, oh, we used to have a hippopotamus. What else is there to say?
Yeah, what do you say?
Bill Cosby had some of the best stuff. Anyway, all right. So that's my top number one. Did you tell me your number one?
Yeah, it was vacuum your lawn.
Okay, so you know mine. What's yours?
10 things that will make people look twice at you. They're going to do a double take, like,
yeah,
oh,
double take.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good title for that. I like that.
I told you once I was putting this together, I was laughing so hard last night myself. I was like, that's so funny.
Oh, good ones.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we got to go. So it's
time.
4 minutes here.
Who would have thought that top 10 would take the whole second
Hey,
half?
hey,
But there was discussion in there too.
It was. Quick fact that goes along with the first third. The quarterback for the Chiefs makes $59 million a year. The quarterback for the 49ers makes $870,000 a year. There's a couple of quick facts for you as you're watching the Super Bowl. 59 million to 800 and some thousand.
Well, that's not what I'm just like, we work so hard and we make nothing.
Yeah. And Mahomes of the Chiefs has his own football field. All right, we got to go. So if you missed the show this week or want to watch it again or want to tell somebody about it, go to lamnetwork.tv right there. See lamnetwork.tv and go to the on-demand section. By the way, we're on Thursday. And we'll see you next week, I hope. Sandi, have a great week.
I sure will. Shalom.
God bless everybody. Why don't you just pray us out? I need to pray us out.
Father, we thank you and we praise you. We exalt your holy name, for you are good. You are a provider. You are the great shepherd, our Messiah, Yeshua. Father, go pierce our hearts and help us to think before we act, think before we speak. And Father, truly recognize that you are our source, that you will not leave us, nor will you forsake us, that you are our provision. You are our all in all, and not look towards man and not be a grumbler and a complainer because we want more. But let us be satisfied with what your goodness and what you provided. We give you all glory and honor and praise in Yeshua's name. Amen.
You're something else.
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.